Hi guys, in this video we are going to discuss about range sliders. And for doing this, I created a new test class named change slider range test. And you can do this too. As I showed you in the last video, add unit test and then you can rename it. And if you want to put this name or whatever you want. And let's see what we have here. So the range slider is inside of my stories. Let's create a story. Okay, and here you have to put in title. Anyway, this is our story. Okay, so now we have our story here. And here inside of story notes, we have our range sliders. But these ones are special ones. So usually we can change the range very easy using just 3 lines of code. But I did that and I was not able to. And I will show you why. Yeah, and let's write the elements that we need to click on in order to go to that story to change the range. And so from home page we have to go to right and then to my stories. And then we have to click on my story and then to story notes, and here it is. Okay, so let's see. So I will just rush things up because we did this before. I will just identify these elements by the XPath. As you can see, we have two nav here. So our element is inside of the second nav. So we write here nav 2, and this is our element. We will insert this in home page because that one is the home page. Let's insert it here. And now we will create another element for this element. Oh, and here we have to change this to right. Okay, now let's create our methods that will access these elements. We will create this page soon. Okay, now we will write this method inside our test class here. And our method is this one. And now let's see if it works. Change slider range. And as you can see, it worked. And now we just have to click on this element and then on story notes. And then we can change our range. Okay, let's create another class. That will be called my stories page. Of course, we have to go to take this lines of code and insert them here. And now let's okay, and now let's identify our element. Let's take this template and change my stories. So, okay, sorry, so my story. Okay. And here, of course, XPath. Okay. Let's create our method. Navigate to, let's say, story notes. Okay, and so in order to go to story notes, as you can see, we still have to click. So first of all, we click on this, and then we have to click on this element. So let's inspect it too. Okay, and now that we have these two elements that we have to click on, let's write them here. This is pretty easy, right? Okay, and now let's go to our test class and write this method too. And in order to do that, we have to create another parameter that will have the type of this class. Story notes, and you have to write it inside of here to initialize it. Oops. Okay. And our method is right here. And let's run it to see if it works. Oops. No, it didn't. Yeah, I guess it didn't found an element, so we have to put on wait. Let's see if this is the problem. No such element. Unable to locate element ID story planner tab. Yeah, so it didn't find the element. Let's put here a wait. And first of all, let's wait for my story to appear, and to make sure everything is fine, we have to wait also for the other element, which is story notes. And now let's run it again. Wait. Yeah, so we have a problem. Let's name it 2. And here 2. Okay, so now we are good to go for the range slider. Normally, to change a slider, we need to install this extension called page ruler. And how do you work with it? Well, first of all, you have to put the slider wherever you want. So let's say I want to put it here. Now we have to click on the ruler and click and hold it and take it to the margin of the window. And here we have some coordinates, right? So as you can see, top means the Y axis, and right, which is the horizontal line, is the X axis. So we have to write these numbers inside of our code. To do this, we have to write all of our code inside of another method. So let's create one. Okay, so it's for the extrovert introvert slider, and let's call it like this. And inside we have to write a special class called actions, and let's give it a name. Actions equal new actions, and it uses driver. Now we have to import this from Selenium interactions, and then actions dot click and hold. We have to give it the name of the slider, and we didn't identify it, so let's identify it very fast here. And here we have to write slider. Let's see if we can write range slider extrovert dot move by offset, and here we have to write the x, the int, so it's this value and this value, 926 and 939. 926 and 939. Okay, and then release, perform, and then we have to write range extrovert dot click. So this code will click on our range and hold it, and we'll take it to this coordinates, and this code will click again on the object so it can release it. And now let's write this method inside of our test class. It will be the same story. Notes dot change slider extrovert. Okay. Let's run it again. Okay, it says element not interactable. Change slider range. So you see, you cannot interact with the element in this way. Okay, so it says element not interactable. Let's change a bit the identifier. So instead of this, I don't know if it would work. Let's try it. So it finds it, but let's change it and say just simple input. And then at name equal okay, and as you can see, it identified it. Let's try it and run it again. You see, it selected the button, but it didn't move it. Yeah, so let's see the name. Let's see what the error says. So it says move target out of bounds. I don't know why it says this, but my only explanation is that this line is very thin, like 1 pixel height, and it's very hard to actually make an accurate calculation for this. So it will go, even if we can do this and just release it, I don't know, in code it's hard to do that, right? I don't know. But the method I want to show you, and I found it on the internet, is this. We have to delete this for now. And we have to create another method that will use some calculation for our slider. And let's see. We have to create a static method. Let's call it and we have to give it some parameters. So the first parameter is actually our web element that we want to move. The second parameter should be the amount that we want to change it. And I want to show you that our range has some specific points where it will fix. Yeah, so it goes from 0 to 1, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And the same is -1, -2, -3, -4, and -5. Yeah, so let's suppose we want to move it to 3. And we have to write here the small amount. So this will be 3. Decimal range min, which is -5, which is this one. And then range max. But actually let's write it range max first. And then range min. Okay, it needs a return. I will write all the code and then I will explain everything. So first of all, we created a variable that will be returned, and then we declared another decimal value that will store the width of the range slider, and in this case is so this is our slider, right? So we have the width is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Yeah, every segment from here is 1 unit of width. And then temp pixels will be 10 pixels, which is 10, divided by range max minus range min. So range max is 5 and range min is minus 5. So 5 minus -5 is 10. So first of all, our temp pixels will be equal to 1. And then we will give it another value. So 10 pixels will be 1, how it is above, multiplied with the amount we want to change the range, minus the range min. So the amount, as I told you, is 3, and the range min is -5. So if we make some calculations, it will be temp pixels is equal to 1 multiply with 3 minus -5. And that, what does it mean? It means that it is equal with 8, right? From here. And 8 means this point. Yeah, because it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's actually 3. And then we will store the value of temp pixels inside of pixels, and then we will return pixels. Yeah, so change slider extrovert will use this method, and we will write inside of this method int pixels to move, which is equal to get pixels to move extrovert. And let's give it some parameters, right? So first of all is range slider extrovert, and then the decimal amount, as we said, is 3. The range max is 5, and the range min is -5. Okay, and now we will use some portions from the method that I told you that uses actions class, and then and here we have minus int of range slider extrovert that width divided by 2, and here we have a 0, and then move by offset, and we will put here pixels to move, which will be 3, and here y is 0 dot release, oops, dot perform. And now our change slider extrovert, which is also inside of our class, yeah, should work. Let's see. Yeah, as you can see, it moved our range to 3, and here's 4 and 5. So we can say that it worked pretty fine, right? And if you want to move the other sliders, you just have to write another method, another static method, and just change the name of it. And of course here, another slider, and also you have to create another method that will be inside of the test method. Now we will quickly take care of the assertion. So after we change the range, we have at the bottom of the page this button save, and if we click it, it says saved. So what we're going to do is to identify this element and then click on it, and then we will take the text from here and we will compare it with what we are going to write, as we did with the previous assertions. Let's see if it's the same with is it the same? Yeah, you can find it by ID. Okay, so even if it's clicked or not, it has the same ID, so we are just going to take the ID. Okay, and then we will create another method. Okay, and let's take this method inside of our test class. Okay, and after that, we will create another element that will take the name saved. Inside of my stories page, we have to write, let's go to home and just take this string and just change the name to saved. And it will take the text from the btn save. Okay. And now in our session, let's go to change settings and just copy the assertion from here. And paste it here. Import everything needed, and here the message as I told you was saved, and here story notes dot saved. Okay, yeah, so everything is done. Let's run it. Okay, my test failed because this is not the XPath, but it's the ID. Okay. Yeah, let's see if it worked. Yeah, so our test passed. And in the next video, we are going to discuss about how to handle lists. Yeah, so let's see how it goes. Thank you for watching. If you have any question, just let me know in the comments down below. And see you in the next video.